Court was in session last week in Madison Square Garden, and the jury has decided that Roman Reigns is still your tribal chief. We got all that and a lot of lanyard for you coming on this live stream edition of the World Elite Podcast. Let's go.
So what does it mean to be a raging Cajun? Southwest Louisiana, wreck your face, man. Still don't get it in, I'ma let you know. All you gotta do is come and join the show.
Well, hello again, everybody. We are the highest tier party, your weekly unfiltered wrestling and entertainment. Welcome to the World Elite Podcast. It's presented by Dubby, Be Better. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. We're on YouTube and Twitch as well. Of course, representing the Hostly Trio, I'm Marcus at MarcusLee337 on Twitter. And I'm joined, representing the Bloodline Entertainment Network. You can find them on Cage My IQ. It's Bakley. How you doing, Bakley?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Can you hear me? You kept pointing at your earphones. I don't know if you can hear me.
No, I can hear you. I'm just pointing that it's me. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You see, you scared me there. I thought we were going to have a crisis at first. We were supposed to have another guest in Freddy from Talkin Bout It All, but sadly he couldn't make it today. It sucks he couldn't be here, but we do appreciate him and everything he's done for the show. He's on my latest episode, filling in for Dylan on the Boys of SummerSlam. We did SummerSlam 2005. We're going to drop that either probably Saturday. I think we're dropping it and we get with Dylan on that. But I know he's on vacation right now. I know him and his family and Jordan also are tuning in all the way from Mississippi because we got a good one today. So let me talk to you. Yeah, I know what we can talk about first. Let's talk about the main topic of the night. We're going to start with the tribal court. So last week in MSG, I didn't realize it went that long. 40 minutes. This whole scenery, the fallout of Money in the Bank, the Usos scoring that big win over Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. What's up, Justin? The Time Wrestling Podcast tuning in. We miss you. I can't wait till you come back, and we got a line episode to do together when he comes back. So I had a feeling it was going to get played off, where he just takes off the reef, he puts it on Jay, he takes off the title, throws it on the floor, then he gets on one knee, and I was expecting a low blow, and sure enough, you get the low blow, but it's every week they do something, it gets better and better. I wish the storyline would never end, but eventually it will somewhere down the road, but it's looking like potentially we're going to get a Roman Reigns Jey Uso match probably at SummerSlam for the title. Everyone's already declaring Jey Uso is going to be the one to dethrone Roman. I unfortunately beg to differ. I'm all in for this, but what about Jimmy? Give Jimmy a chance. I wanted Jimmy Uso versus Roman Reigns. Jey had 2 opportunities during the pandemic. Jimmy was the one that just stomped a hole through this family tree. He super kicked Roman first and started the Usos going their separate ways, but Jey was the last one to super kick it and kick off this bloodline civil war, you could say. But yeah. So give me your take on the tribal court and everything, and this Roman J3 we're getting, or whatever.
Apparently it was only supposed to be 20 minutes and not 40 minutes, and it went double overtime, and then they had to switch out and cancel some of the programs that they were supposed to have. That's why there wasn't too much to SmackDown at MSG. It was just 3 or 4. That's why Cross and Styles, I think, only went 2-3 minutes because of how over this segment went. But it's like you said, it's always finding something to swerve you with the storyline. And it's so good. 3.5 years in the making, still going, but it always focuses around Jey though, and how Jey was always in the beginning as a tag team. He was the backup guy. Jimmy was the main guy. Jimmy came out, broke out with the personality. He was doing the mixed match challenge with his wife, of course, Trinity and Naomi, and then he got hurt, and it kind of allowed Jey to kind of break out. He started doing the thing with the right hand man. Main event Jey Uso. He kind of got submitted by Roman Reigns, kind of losing to him twice, and then he just gave up. But Jimmy kind of woke him up. He woke him back up because Jay's always been the guy to step up for himself. And then with everything in his past with Jimmy, with I think the DUIs, I think they're playing off of it. He's not going to do too much. They kind of wrote him off TV this week by attacking him. And the word is he probably won't be on TV for a couple weeks to sell the attack. And that's why you're getting the match here. My only criticism would be is they're relying on it too much. What happens when everything ends? What is WWE going to have really on SmackDown? Because they've invested so much into this. You get a program that's 30, 40 minutes every week. That's a lot to fill program-wise. So it's great now, but 6 months from now, once we get to Mania and say he drops the title, what's going to happen then? Because more than likely he's going to drop it and then he's going to go into acting. So that's my only criticism, but it's great. They're going to lean towards this. It's like filler just to get to what we want, which is Survivor Series. There's going to be something with SmackDown and Raw. We might actually see Seth versus Roman again before we get to the Royal Rumble, the road to WrestleMania and everything. But it's a good thing right now, fillerize to break out the Usos away from the bloodline and get them back to what they were.
Yeah, kind of changing the subject. I mean, when it comes to Survivor Series, I know they made the announcement. I think it was earlier this week or last week. They announced Survivor Series is going to be in Chicago, which you think Chicago
Yeah.
needs any more shows lately? But I why don't you just go back to doing war games because I'm not buying this SmackDown versus Raw shit because they don't stay reliable to their brands. They go to other shows. Justin saying Jay should be the one to end Roman's reign, but not take the title. Well, his only problem now is what was the point of Roman getting pinned? Should have stayed that for who beats him for the title because, yeah,
I think they had him pinned just like you want him to end that getting pin streak, and he was the guy to do it. Just like he said, he should be the one to end his kind of reign, which he kind of did per se. But then that's how you kind of shake things up and you get people because then you have him do like a program like this where he acts like he's going to give up, and then boom, low blow, and it goes right into a one-on-one with him and Jay. So you kind of you give people a little bit what they want, but then you keep them wanting more.
yeah, because I don't know where WWE's gonna go when this is over. If Roman were to lose the title, I'll say at WrestleMania, they're all saying they're gonna get the rematch with Cody and Roman. If Cody does complete this story, whatever the story is that he's trying to finish,
I still don't buy that. I still don't buy that it's going to be them two. I'm still buying the fact that I think it's going to be Roman against Seth, and then Cody versus and Gunther.
I don't know what to believe here. All I just know is just keep entertaining me with the Bloodline storyline
Yeah.
on one show and keep entertaining me with Seth Rollins on the other show. But
Yeah.
I will continue on with the next topic that involves Roman. So, but wait, I need to pop it up. While I get that popped up, do you want to add anything else when it comes to the whole Bloodline storyline? Like,
I'm waiting to see what I'm waiting to see what happens with Solo Sikoa, because I said this right after Money in the Bank. I thought he was the MVP of the match with how he sold everything that he did. Like when Roman was kind of like out of it, he was like, wake up, but with like just his actions. And then he sold like a champ. And I feel like this guy is going to be something in a year or two when he can either talk or he gets the perfect manager. And then maybe it's a situation to where like Usos are doing their thing now. And then eventually maybe Solo Sikoa turns on Roman with Paul Heyman, and then Paul Heyman becomes just Solo's manager, and then Roman's still Roman as champion, but then he's by himself now.
Because even some people think that maybe Solo would eventually turn on Roman and maybe they go in a feud.
Yeah, that they've had a little bit of nuances that they showed, like the way like Solo looks at Roman when he says certain things, the way you see Paul Heyman talking to Solo, and then Roman like acting like he's a little bit afraid of Sikoa.
I mean, I would love to see a Roman Solo feud down the road, but
Yeah.
if I don't know if Solo could be the one to dethrone him, I would love it, but I can't see it either. I can't see any of Rikishi's sons doing it. And unfortunately, I'm gonna still say Cody Rhodes if Lightning don't strike twice and he loses at WrestleMania for back-to-back years. But speaking of Roman Reigns, our next topic will still relate to him. So currently where he stands right now when it comes to his reign as champion, he now sits at 1,047 days as champion. He's still got a long ways to go if he wants to surpass the likes of Bob Backlund and Bruno Sammartino. I unfortunately did not get their numbers up, but I can say when it comes to Hulk Hogan, he hasn't gotten to his record yet. I'm talking about all-time reign. He's still got a ways to go. That magic number is 1,474 days before Roman passes him up. Roman Reigns, as of today, currently sits at 1,047 days. But there's another era reign that no one ever mentions. since WrestleMania became a thing in 1985, they call it the WrestleMania era. Hogan was WWE champion for a combined 1,041 days in the WrestleMania era, and Roman Reigns surpassed that record that nobody acknowledges, just to kind of give you a boost up, like if he can pass this, he's gonna pass Hulk Hogan's all-time reign. And I feel like that's the goal they're trying to do, at least because of everyone's hatred for Hogan and how he acts and everything these days, and everybody's just sick and tired of him. I feel like they want him to at least pass his all-time record. And if he loses the title, he could be the third longest combined reign of all time, or if he manages to pass Bob Backlund's of all time, and he'd be the second longest reign.
I think he'll pass Hogan, but I don't think he'll pass Bob Backlund. What's Backlund's record again?
While I get that, what was your take when you saw this on the internet? Because people kind of got swerved and thought, oh my God, he finally passed Hogan's record. Let him lose the title. No, not quite. He passed a different reign. And everybody's like, who gives a fuck about the WrestleMania era? They want him to just pass Hogan's record because everyone's hatred for Hogan these days.
I haven't paid too much attention to the record, because the record I would want to see is how many title defenses did Hogan have during that compared to Reigns, because we know even though Reigns is at 1,060 or whatever it is right now, he just went like a whole how many months without defending the title? He hasn't defended the title since, I think, WrestleMania. I think it was the last, except for that one live event that he did, that he defended against Rey Mysterio like a week or two ago. But there's only been one defense since beginning of April, and it's almost August now, and which is crazy. And then before that, it was sparingly where he would defend it every like 2-3 months. It's like, I know they're trying to lean towards like the old school where guys wouldn't defend it because until pay-per-views, but it's like even then when they had superstars, they'd still be defending it on national TV. It's just that all the big things would happen on the core 4 pay-per-views. But I think they're doing that, like you said. I think that they planned on doing it to have him break Hogan's record.
Yeah, but now I don't know how if I don't know if WWE alone is going by combined reigns or they're going by single reigns, because I pulled up the longest reigns ranked. Bruno Sammartino is on it twice. He's ranked number 1 for 2,803 days, but then he's ranked again number 4 at 1,237 days. So I think they said they were combining them, but they have Bob Backlund ranked second for 2,135 days, and they still show Hogan at 1,474.
He would have to do it for another 3 years to come close to that.
Exactly.
Which is crazy. And then that's just Bob Backlund's. That's not even the 2,000 plus of the one for Bruno. Like, I don't think he's never coming close to that. And I think he gets past Hogan and then he drops it. I think that's like the perfect thing, because it's gonna be hard for him to hold it another 3 years straight.
Yeah, and Justin says we could pretty much expect if Roman retains at 40, then he's aiming. Yeah, I hope not, because that'd be another couple of years. Because no, he already passed Pedro Morales. Pedro Morales was the 5th longest, but they split Bruno's. They put Bruno's second reign as the 4th longest, and they put his very first as the longest reign. But I thought they were combining them, because they have Hogan's reign at number 3 for his reign, his first title reign, 1,474 days. That's the one they're going after. And then Bob Backlund's very first reign, 2,135 days. So I can they're looking like they're aiming to pass Hogan's. I think he could probably pass it by WrestleMania. He's gonna pass it by WrestleMania 40. By WrestleMania 40,
how much is it again? What's the? He said 1,000 and I think 60.
1,474 days.
He would have to win at Mania to pass it. it's past Mania.
Well,
there's only
you
like
heard
200 days. Yeah. So
you heard it
he would have to
here.
do that. He would have to do that, and then I think he would have to go to next SummerSlam to pass it.
Well, you heard it here, folks. We just predicted WrestleMania 40. Roman's going to retain again. If they're going after Hogan's record, he's going to have to retain at 40. And then we'll go from there, because there's been the talk that they were having him wanting to keep it till September of 2024. So that would be damn near 4-year reign.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, we live in like it's the 1980s here.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's crazy though, to think that he's been champion that long. But then we also got to think that he had both titles, and then they combined them, and then there was 2 different reigns with that, and now they brought another title back. It's just very convoluted.
yeah, but you might have first heard it here, folks. Yeah, I think we just predicted that Roman will likely retain at WrestleMania 40. Hey, if
I think it depends on who he faces, because
Cody,
you got Cody, and then you got Seth, because we talked about the brand split, but it's not really a brand split.
Yeah.
they float on each show, and they've kind of really dug into the Seth and Roman with like these jabs. You remember the interviews before the title tournament where Seth won it. He had that interview where he talked about Roman being selfish and how like he's never beat him, and then he had the one-on-one with Paul Heyman telling him that, yeah, I'm on Raw now because you're scared of me being on the same brand. And I'm like, me thinking about now this whole non-brand split thing, I bet it was done on purpose, because at the end of the day, they want to give a reason to have Seth face Roman for the title. So with the way that they've done the briefcase, and you got Damian Priest have it, but then he's facing Finn Balor, I feel like there's a good chance that there's a successful cash-in where Seth loses it. And it's one of the ways to jumpstart him dropping that belt and then to go after Roman.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't unify the titles. What was the point of getting all new championships? Because eventually we will not have to see the old 2 belts anymore. We'll just stick to this 1 belt that he has.
Because I think they're waiting on Gunther, because the IC title record will be broken in September. September 5th is the Honky Tonk Man's record for Gunther. I think all Gunther has to do is get past Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam, and then if he beats him there, he should pass the record. And I think that's what they're waiting on with him, because I feel like he's ready to get pushed up to the main event, to the world title picture. And that'd be perfect. You have, say, Priest cash in, get the title, and then you have Gunther drop the title sometime in September, and then you have him go after and win that world title. And then they've been talking about wanting to do Gunther versus Cody after Royal Rumble, where they had that extra 20 minutes at the end of the Royal Rumble, where they've talked about wanting to do like a rematch between the 2 of them. I think WrestleMania is the perfect place to do that. You get them 2, you get Seth and Roman with the history that they have. It's just about with these 2 records that want to be broken. You got the Hogan one, and then you got the Honky Tonk Man. When have we ever had that chance to where we had 2 different wrestlers being able to break a record like that?
I can see Gunther breaking the record. I can see him retaining over Drew McIntyre, and then when September comes, he has to retain it at Payback if he defends it. And then after he said September 5th, then he owns the record, and then he can just lose it whenever. Who would he lose the title to, by the way?
I always said that I felt like he could lose it by cash-in, and it protects him. But then it all depends, because you would have to have – I feel like somehow – Seth Rollins would have to drop the title unless to Gunther. But I feel like maybe you get this whole cash-in thing. It depends on who cashes in on who Priest cashes in and then when. I think it depends on that. Because remember, they never said specifically who you could cash in on. Now this year they have the rule where you can cash in on anybody.
Yeah, I don't like that rule. That's kind of the dumbest rule I ever saw. I wish they'd have just kept the tradition where you can go after the world title, which I can't see.
It's because of Roman. How are you going to cash in on a guy that they want to hold the belt for 3 or 4 years? They booked themselves into a corner with the Roman Reigns record right now, with being the champ for 3-4 years.
Well, I mean, cash in on Seth Rollins. You can go cash in on.
Well,
I can see him as the
now
one.
You can. Well, now you could, but I'm saying they booked themselves into that beforehand because for 3 years they've had this issues with the cash in because of this.
I don't even know where they're going to go down the road for SummerSlam because I'm hearing rumors one of the 3 members of Judgment Day is going to face Seth at SummerSlam.
It's going to be Finn again.
I'd rather that than Dominic. Everyone thinks Dominic's going to be the one challenging him at SummerSlam. I'm like, I can see Damian Priest going after it.
That would make no sense with him losing to Cody and then him having a match against Wesley this week for the North American title.
I know. I don't even see him winning that either because we'll just jump to that topic anyway. They made the announcement on Twitter last week. We're getting, you can call it a dream match. I'm all in for it. Wesley versus Mustafa Ali for the NXT North American Championship at the Great American Bash. Now, I wish I was going to this show because Cedar Park is about 5.5 hours away from me. But if it had been a Saturday show, I'd have went in a heartbeat. But I'm just coming back from Florida. I will watch this premiere event live on Peacock. I think it's going to be a hell of a show. I mean, now, if you watched NXT Tuesday night, Ilya Dragunov and Braun Breaker, a fucking banger match. And the fact Dragunov won, and now he's going after Carmelo Hayes. Now, is it going to be 2 baby faces, or they're going to try and push Dragunov as a heel? There were rumors they might make it a triple threat just to add Braun Breaker in to take a pinfall and have a heel in this if Dragunov don't go down that road. But this could be a show stealer here. I'm excited for this one. I think this could be Mustafa Ali's chance to finally win a singles title, but don't leave out Wesley because he's a hell of a competitor and he's definitely going to be a future NXT champion. I mean, he might be one of the guys I can see take it away from Carmelo Hayes down the road. Yeah. One of a few.
And just like we've talked about with the records, he now holds the record for longest North American title reign. Yep. With that belt, coming close to almost a year now with it. And
October, if there's any year.
Yes, at Halloween Havoc.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's a perfect time maybe to drop the title off of him, it might be now, and to give a guy like Mustafa Ali, who Shawn Michaels asked to be brought down. He's very high on him, and he wanted him to come down and work in NXT. And it might be a good way to drop the title off of him if he had any plans to move up Wesley to the main title picture, or possibly call him up soon. Because this guy has done just about everything with that title. There's really not that much that he can do or anybody else he can face for that title. He's just about faced everybody and defended it like 10, 15 times in the past year. So I think maybe this is the perfect time to have him drop it.
Yeah. But we'll see what happens because, hey, if Wesley retains, I'll be happy for him. Yeah. But if Mustafa Ali retains, it's about damn time they put a title on him because he's been long overdue. You go back to the 205 Live days, he should have been Cruiserweight champion at least once. I mean, maybe while he was on the main roster, he could have been Intercontinental champion or even United States champion.
Yeah, they gave him that run where I think he challenged it at WrestleMania, but he lost the match.
Yeah. So, and we're keeping the trend going. If you have watched Dark Side of the Ring this week, they did an episode on the adorable Adrian Adonis, who was very known for his flamboyant character, portraying a gay guy, and also kind of doing comparing him to Gorgeous George. You know, if you saw those old images of Gorgeous George, he was the first, you could say the first sports entertainer. He was the first to have theme music. He was the first to like come out in a robe and have like companionship and have like a look to himself instead of just looking like the traditional wrestler. And a little bit of backstory. I mean, when it comes to wrestlers in the '80s, you know, you got to throw cocaine in the talk. You know, Adrian Adonis has done cocaine, like any other wrestler in the '80s. And before he had this flamboyant gimmick that McMahon came up with, he was also sort of a badass in the ring as well. And you talk about his days in the AWA and whatnot. Of course, Dylan tuning in all the way from Biloxi, Mississippi right now. What's going on? He'll be back soon. When he comes back, we're going to be talking Great American Bash 2004. And then next week's live stream, we're going to do our traditional mid-year awards right before I leave to go on my vacation. So I wasn't alive to see Adrian Adonis wrestle at all because he passed away on July the 4th in 1988 in a car accident in Newfoundland, along with 3 other wrestlers that were involved in the accident. And he passed away along with a wrestler who had a gimmick with bears, and then a set of wrestling twins where sadly one of the twins didn't make it. I forgot the names. Like, it's just some names.
It was William Arco, Mike Kelly. You got Pat Kelly and
the Kelly twins.
You got Dave and then you got Dave McKinley, and then you got those 3. They are blinded by the setting sun, and that's what caused them to swerve to avoid hitting a moose.
Yeah. So this was like early in the morning, or this was like late in the evening?
I believe it was early in the morning. No, it was early in the evening. My bad, because the sun was setting.
Oh yeah. Sure, I'm sure it was a tragic, like crazy, like pretty sure it like broke out all over the news and everything before the internet was a thing. But, you know, I think when I pulled up his like accomplishments and everything from back in the day, I do remember that he did have like one title reign in the WWF. I think he was a former tag team champion. The only thing I remember watching from him was he had a match at WrestleMania 3 against Roddy Piper. It was, I think it
hair
was
versus hair match.
Hair versus hair match. And if Piper would have lost, he would have retired, but he won the match. He's a former tag team champion with Dick Murdoch in the WWF. And he was also a former AWA tag team champion with Jesse the Body Ventura.
Talk about tag teams right there. Him and Jesse the Body Ventura. That's a very unique personalities that make up a team. And then look at the picture right there. Well, next to him, you got Jimmy Hart there. Of our managers, he's the most well-known and versatile of the guys. Just because he's always with those like unique guys, and he's always speaking for them. You don't need to have anybody say anything when he's around. But then he can work both ways. He can work a face, and then he can work heel. And knowing that this is one of the first guys to really do these types of gimmicks, it makes you think, like, one, how was it for wrestlers back in the day when they were just wrestling? And then how drastic was the change when he came in with the gimmick? And then that's when you start having all these different gimmicks in the WWE. How drastic was that for the wrestlers, going from just being yourself to then having to play a certain type of character?
And especially a character he's not even in real life. Like, he was portraying a gay wrestler, and he was as straight as a tightrope, and because he was married and he had kids. I don't know if I could have been comfortable, but if I was getting paid millions of dollars to pretend to be gay, write me a check right now. I'll show you gay, even though I'm not even gay. But I'm pretty sure with how crazy times were 30 plus years ago, he got a lot of homophobic comments going to the ring or even in the ring.
What do you think was like a harder gimmick to do, this one or Goldust?
Probably Goldust.
Yeah, because he just like the word, like I can't even say it. Like what Vince wanted Dustin Rhodes to do, but it's like he probably got that from Adrian Adonis, and I believe that's what it was. So they got like the whole theme from him.
I can pass just talking in sort of a gay tone than trying to do what the fuck Goldust was doing. I would not be comfortable doing what he did. The whole just licking shit and then just taking the robe off and just strutting a little bit or doing that little sex crawl. And the only thing I could probably pass is the only thing I can do with Goldust.
And then looking at it, in his early days, he was in a tag team with Roddy Piper. In his early days,
everyone worked
Pacific
with Piper.
and in NWA Pacific Northwest, they were the tag team champions.
You talking about Adonis, or are you talking about Dustin Rhodes?
Adonis. That's crazy. So he's worked in tag teams with big known wrestlers in 3 different promotions. That shows his versatility along with the gimmick that he played. So no wonder he was able to get big like that during that time, even with that gimmick, just because he could work with anybody.
Here's one more question about him before we move on. Do you potentially, or can you see Adrian Adonis being a WWE Hall of Famer? I know it's tough.
Eventually, I could see it.
He eventually could be, because they're now getting to the point they're just putting anybody, and I mean anybody, in the goddamn Hall of Fame that don't need to be in it. I'm not saying he doesn't need to be in it. He kind of changed the game. He kind of went down that trail Gorgeous George did. Like, if it wasn't for guys like Gorgeous George and Adrian Adonis, there would probably be no Ric Flair or no Bobby Roode or anybody else or Charlotte Flair, anybody that anybody with a robe or anybody with a type of special gimmick, like playing pretend. Like, he was pretending to be a gay wrestler, but he was not.
Now looking at it now, apparently he worked in New Japan. That's where he worked with Dick Murdoch. Guess who else he tag teamed with?
Who?
Owen Hart.
Oh wow.
In New Japan.
Maybe the craziest thing I saw in his documentary was the shit with Dan Spivey. Dan Spivey like uppercutted him. His like cheekbone was hanging out of his fucking face when he got knocked out.
Yeah, because it was very physical back in the day. Like they're trying to be more protective now, but back in the day, the business was a lot different. Like with the receipts, the way you were very physical, bigger guys. You see guys knocking each other out, but then come back to it, at least cover in the ring. It just was a different game then.
Yeah. So next week's episode, they're doing Abdullah the Butcher. They're going to be doing one on someone who's still alive today. I feel like, it's going to be interesting to watch, but to me, I feel like it's going to be least interesting because I've already seen something similar to a story with how hardcore he was, and he gave a wrestler fucking hepatitis because he used like a piece of metal or whatever to stab him that had blood on it, that was infected blood. I'm going to watch it because I love Dark Side of the Ring, but I really don't. I'm least interested in this one. Just like I was probably least interested. I'm trying to think of the other episodes. Like probably the episode on Chris Candido and Sonny. Like, I didn't really care for that one, but I did watch it.
I care for that one, but that's good. But that's just because I'm in like the backyard of ECW. I watched ECW all the time, and then I go to that arena a lot for events. So it was like it kind of brought me back to it. Then seeing like him and Sonny's background, so it was something that I gravitate towards. But that's because I just watched him so much in both WWE and ECW.
So I think there's 4 more episodes to go. So they did Chris Candido and Sonny.
Yeah.
Chris and Tammy Lynn Sitch. They did Magnum TA, which I wanted to watch that one, even though I knew his story.
That was rich.
I was interested in that one.
That was really good.
The Graham one, I watched it, but I didn't really care for it, but I watched it. I wanted to see it. Doink the Clown, I was sort of interested in. The Junkyard Dog one was the one I wanted to watch the most, and then I really enjoyed it. And then they took a week break, and then they just did this one. Next week, you got Abdullah the Butcher. Then you got Bam Bam Bigelow, which I kind of want to watch.
I'm definitely looking forward to that one.
But it's
another Jersey guy.
It's the last two I'm more hyped for now. Bash at the Beach 2000, and of course Marty Jannetty. That's the one Dylan's ready for. But I just want to see what Vince Russo fucking says. Or Vince Russo pops up on it, Eric Bischoff. I think they got Hogan on it. I'm not sure. That's what I'm because Hogan hasn't appeared on Dark Side of the Ring since the steroid trial.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. So moving on. It's not 100% official yet, but you know it's going to happen. You know it's SummerSlam. We're going to get Logan Paul versus Ricochet. It's coming. It's going to build up. I know it's going to be a show stealer because look at their last encounters in this year. Their spot in the Royal Rumble match where they flew into each other in the air, and I was in attendance for that. Money in the Bank, and then that spot with the table that almost fucked them both up. And then, of course, the bonus backstage video of them brawling. We're in. This could be a potential show stealer at SummerSlam once they make it official.
I said it from Money in the Bank. I was like, and even before that, I'm like, with these two guys in there, I'm like, they're gonna have a match at SummerSlam because they've had several encounters with each other. They kind of just hinted at it. You got Logan Paul, who has showcased his skills in the ring, being a high flyer, but then you got Ricochet, who can do just about anything in that squared circle. And this is going to be a true test for Logan Paul because this is going to be a match where he's not in the ring with a big name guy who would carry him in the match. He's kind of have to like work with Ricochet here, like 50-50 here. And we're really going to see how much he can go in the ring at come SummerSlam. And this is also a big spot for Ricochet because maybe they're seeing if he can sink or swim in this moment because they're putting him in the ring with a big name like Logan Paul. And if he hits it out of the park, we could see a big push from him. And maybe that's what they're testing the waters with here. Seeing if he can get Logan Paul through this match, put on a banger, what people think it is. I think it's going to be one of the secret bangers of the pay-per-view. I think this is going to be one of the ones that could be one of the best on the card if they hit all those spots and there's no botches or mistakes, which we've seen Logan Paul has done a good job at not doing any of that because he puts the work in. But I also give but talking about this match, I give props to Ricochet for making it happen. Like, who knows if the plan at Royal Rumble was to actually have a match between the two. Maybe it just organically happened because of the spot that they did at the Rumble.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just give me like a honest prediction here. Who do you see coming off on top at SummerSlam? You think it'll go to Logan Paul, who hasn't won a match in a year, or Ricochet will finally get some credibility?
I'm gonna go right now. I'm gonna go Ricochet.
Okay,
but I wouldn't be surprised if they used Ricochet to put over Logan Paul, and maybe Logan Paul beats him with like dirty tactics, because he's gonna be playing like the heel guy here, because he's been like I don't want to get in the ring with you, like you're not worth my time, yada yada yada. And he's trying to play the fact that Ricochet needs to prove that he deserves the match, and all the stuff that he does is just great for TikTok, but not in the ring.
Yeah, we'll see when that time comes, but yeah, we know it's gonna happen. We're just gonna let it build up, and then we'll be excited for this one. So then we have, this is actually our final topic I included, but I'm gonna add one more thing at the end as just a bonus. But at first, I didn't like this idea, but lately, for the last few weeks, I have been enjoying these two in pairings. Ever since AEW started this blind eliminator tournament, which according to Tim King on his show, he compares it to the Battle Bowl. I don't know if Tony Khan stole this from WCW or according to the Queen's Takeover, they did something similar like this in WWE years ago where they just paired up with random guys and not their actual partners. But I'm going to have to go with TK and compare it to the Battle Bowl. So the winner of this so-called blind eliminator tournament will get a tag team title shot against FTR. And I don't know how they paired up the teams. I just felt like that MJF and Adam Cole, who kind of have been having some issue with each other, but I've been enjoying the sketch, them in the weight room, MJF interrupting Adam Cole on Twitch or blowing him up on Twitter, tagging him in tweets and Instagram.
He was donating to his Twitch channel, and then he was calling him while he was streaming, and then Adam Cole's like, "I'm streaming right now, I can't talk." And then
man.
It was funny. I actually went into the stream like last week, and I got there just in time because you could see MJF make like an alt account, and then he donated and sent something, and then he said something like, "Hey, I'm donating." He was like, "I couldn't do it from my other one because my other name got blocked," and then you see it get deleted like right away, but I caught it. It just had me laughing because I'm like, they're going that far to sell this to where they're having it affect Adam Cole's Twitch channel that he goes on, that he tries to keep separate. That's how far they're going with this whole like storyline with these two. And I think it's been great because it's like, it's classic. You got two guys that are feuding with each other. They put them together to kill a little bit of time, to have them bond a little bit just for one of them to turn on the other. It's just going to be a matter of who turns on the other. And essentially, I think it's going to be MJF that does it at the end of the day. He does it. Maybe they lose the finals or they lose next week, and then he gets pissed and then turns on Adam Cole, and then that's where you get like the road to All Out where they face each other. But it's a good thing. It's a good change of scenery from from the trials and tribulations, from the pillars of AEW. It's something different for him to defend the title, because we've gotten tired of the same old stuff, and it's something new. We see a little bit of different personality out of MJF, and then with Adam Cole, he gets a little bit of the limelight with this. I think that at the end of the day, he's the perfect guy to take the title off of MJF. MJF's coming up on almost a year as champion. Once you get to October, it'll be a year. And I think you want to cash in now on taking the belt off of him, because I don't think it's he's done a good job as champion, but some of the promos and stuff, some of the title defenses just haven't hit. Kind of like the Hangman Page, where we loved him winning it, but then him as champion, just something fell off. I feel like half the time it hits, half the time something's off with their championship reign. And I think Adam Cole is a perfect guy to boost up and win the title eventually.
Yeah. Well, going back to our last topic, Justin against it. I feel like WWE is finally giving some notice to Ricochet. See who's going to beat Logan Paul. Expecting banger for them too. Yeah. Jordan tuning in. What's up? Tuning all the way in from Biloxi. Justin again says he agrees MJF and Adam Cole is an incredibly comedic and entertaining. Clearly, it won't last long, but excited for the eventual rematch as well. Plus, we got Faction Cast podcast tuning in. What's going on? Better than you, baby. I like that shirt, by the way.
Yes.
I'm loving everything. I even like how he's trying to mock him in the ring or mock him on the stage before his entrance plays.
Yeah.
Then I like the little promo they cut last night, after their match. And I love the shirt. Better than you, baby. So next week they made it to the finals. They're going to face Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia. I see MJF and Adam Cole winning this tournament, but they don't win the tag titles. Either MJF's going to walk out.
Yeah.
Either MJ's going to walk out in the middle of the match and say fuck it, or he's going to get mad that they don't win and he's going to attack Adam Cole after, and it builds up. You said All Out. Well, who's he going to face it All In? Which I think it's fucking stupid. They're having 2 pay-per-views a week apart that I'm going to be
Well, I
losing
said I
$120
well I said
for.
well I said all along. Everybody keeps complaining about the 2 pay-per-views, but everybody last year complained that there was 15 matches on All Out. And one way that you can fix that, do 7 matches on All In and 7 matches on All Out, and you do certain ones for each pay-per-view. That way, you kind of split it in half. Because if you're going to complain about a packed pay-per-view, then if they split it in half, they're just doing that to accommodate everybody. And then I think All In's going to be more kind of like not Forbidden Door, but like a big thing because they're doing Wembley and London. They're probably going to cater more towards like the London wrestlers. You might see the women's make an event that one maybe and do certain matches there, and then you go to the bigger matches right in Chicago the following week for the usual All Out pay-per-view. Like I've been going back and forth with this finals. Like you got MJF, Adam Cole, that worked well, but then like I'm just having a hard time feeling what's going to happen with that because it's like if they do that, then I definitely think that Adam Cole wins, and it's a way to set up Adam Cole and CM Punk because I wouldn't think that they would redo MJF and CM Punk for a 3rd time. Actually, it would be for a 4th time. It just wouldn't make sense. But I could see like an Adam Cole because you remember on Collision where Roderick Strong got injured by Samoa Joe. You had CM Punk and Adam Cole in the ring at the same time, but they weren't having eye contact with each other. It was like they weren't acting like each other were there. So that was like these little small tidbits. Even Tim said that on his show Wednesday. It was like you could see like a future program with them with maybe Adam Cole as champion and CM Punk challenging for the title. But it all depends on what they do with Sammy and Garcia. Is Garcia going to leave Sammy and then that's how these 2 win? But then whoever wins the tag title match this Saturday between Bullet Club Gold and FTR would have to face the winner in 2 weeks on the 29th because that's when the winner of this tournament gets their title shot on Collision is on the 29th. So you're going to have FTR possibly defend their titles twice.
I see multiple people fighting twice. They're going to fight both shows. You know, CM Punk's going to be on both cards. I don't know about maybe guys like the Elite and whatnot or Blackpool Combat Club.
I could see CM Punk on Wembley, but not on All Out.
He's not going to fight in his hometown. That'd be funny as hell. All them,
or opposite. I could see the Elite on Wembley and then him on All Out. I could see one and the other.
Yes, I can believe. I hope the Elite is in London so I can hear 90,000. If they get to 90,000, sing Carry On My Wayward Son. You got to have Jericho at Wembley. I got to hear Judas. If we get a Jericho Sting match one-on-one, you know it's going to be at Wembley. With Jungle Boy's character change, let him at least keep Tarzan Boy till Wembley so I can hear 90,000 people hum Tarzan Boy, and then you can do what the fuck you want after.
I think he's done with that, but I think he got rid of that, though.
Man, that's going to suck, man, because I'm miss hearing that.
Everybody complained that the character,
I didn't complain.
The gimmick. Yeah, outgrew the gimmick, and now he's gone away from it. And tell me, last week when he came out with that new attire, he did not look like he stole like a shirt from The Rock with like that V-neck.
And he stole that from The Rock. He stole his dad's jacket. He probably dug up Luke Perry's grave and took his jacket. I don't know. I'm just complaining about Chicago getting too many shows. I mean, it's kind of childish. They have to still do All Out when they're doing All In, and they're only going to have 1 week to promote All Out and build it up. I'm going to say this now. When the weekend comes, nobody is gonna fucking watch anything. They might watch Collision and that's it. Nobody's gonna give a shit about Rampage. Nobody's definitely gonna give a shit about Battle of the Belts. Why are they still doing Battle of the Belts? It's one of the most pointless shows of the year. It's only 1 hour, 3 title matches.
Well, I'm happy at least they're putting it on Collision to where they're making it worth something because you're giving it a good crowd. You're putting it after a 2-hour show where the program has been great. Like I feel like every Collision I watch is good because it's more slow paced. It's a more slow paced style, and they've done well with putting over wrestlers and with the storylines. Like a lot of people gave shit to Boy Club Gold, but they've been on TV just about every week. And Juice Robinson has done 90 minutes of wrestling since Collision started. And it's only been around for over a month. And he's done that much wrestling.
Well, it's probably good show, but it doesn't have the viewership because they picked the worst day to do it. Saturday is not a good day. It's going to be worse when football season starts, especially.
I don't think it's going to affect it that much because we're in a day and age where I think with the viewership count, it only counts with cable. Say you use like YouTube TV, that doesn't count towards the viewership. I could be watching it, but they're not going to count that towards the viewership because it's not cable. It's not syndicated. A lot of stuff that you watch now is either on streaming or you DVR it. So, and with that time, it allows them to hit the market on Sunday if somebody misses it. Like just like you said, when college football comes around, it's probably going to be lowered. But then the days after, like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you're going to see a lot of people watch it or rewatching it because they watched football live and decide to watch it later. I think that's going to be the one thing, but it's going to be watched no matter what. They're going to have people there. They just booked a show in Penn State, September 16th, the week that Penn State's going to be away at Illinois.
Yeah,
so
that's probably one of the that's probably one of the smartest things they did because Penn State don't really play a lot of night games unless it's like rivalry games and they're at home, so they can do their usual whiteouts at Happy Valley. But I guarantee whatever week they're going to Penn State will probably have a noon kickoff, so they'll watch their Penn State game on the road, and then they're gonna go walk to that arena from their dorms. And
I could see that happening a lot this fall, where that's what they do. They look for like arenas where maybe like a college town where their team's away that week, and then they take advantage of it and they do a show there, and they try and get that college crowd there and people in that area because they can capitalize. Even towards college football, you can capitalize on that with a team not there.
And I mean, it's not like some people are not going to multitask. I'm pretty sure there's going to be people that are going to have the football game on the big screen and they'll have like Collision on their phone or on their PCs or whatever, or it could be role reverse. But then you got the ones that don't watch sports. Wrestling is the only thing they care about. They care about wrestling more than their own family, and they're going to be there for that in attendance and whatnot. But I mean, they'll gain some people, but they won't gain a lot. I mean, I haven't even watched Collision since the first episode. I might be missing, but it's like the more I see CM Punk, the more I just want to throw up because I'm fucking over him, and it pisses me off. Something tells me he's gonna beat Ricky Starks in the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, and they're gonna fuck Ricky Starks over.
That's gonna be interesting because I do think that somebody's gonna turn on the other. I don't think it's gonna be that clean. Babyface versus babyface. I think somebody's gonna
Punk's a heel.
I could see it being Ricky Starks. I
would
see
love
him
it.
pulling a quick one. Imagine if he dreamed Boy Club Gold.
I would love that. Fuck CM Punk. I would love that.
Imagine,
now,
because when you think about it, you got FTR is going to be busy with the 2 out 3 falls match with Boy Club Gold, and that just leaves them two to face each other, and then boom. You get these two. You get a low blow. Even if, say, Punk wins, but then you get the handshake at the end, and then Ricky Starks just goes and low blows him and attacks him.
Spoiler alert, because I know nobody that watches our show fucking gives a shit about Rampage, but Willow Nightingale beats Athena in the semifinals, and she's going to face Ruby Soho in the finals. I would love Willow to win that for the Women's Foundation. I hope she wins it.
I wouldn't mind, but then I also think that Ruby earned the chance to win it because she was the runner-up last year as a babyface. Now she's a heel, and I think I've grown to like the Outcast. I like the trio. I like what they're doing. They're on TV just about every week. Right now, even if Toni Storm's the champion, they're showing that shine to Ruby now, to where she's putting on great matches. Her and Britt had a good match. Her and Sky Blue just had a great match on Wednesday, and that's going to be these two. So unless I could see them putting it on Ruby, but I would love if Willow won it because she's a homegrown talent that they've just done a great job with.
Yeah. So I have one more thing I'm going to add real quick. We're going to run through. But first, if you heard, unfortunately, Ring of Honor is about to fucking drop to shit because they were advertising the main event, Claudio versus Mark Briscoe for the title. And unfortunately, Mark Briscoe was pulled off the card. He has to have surgery.
I got tickets to it.
That sucks for you. And I swear to God, if they put Eddie Kingston against them, I'm definitely not fucking watching that interview.
He deserves it, but he's in Japan right now. Like he just left. You got the G1 starting on Sunday, and he's going to be wrestling Shingo. So he won't. Even if they wanted him to, he's over in Japan for the next month.
Who do you think's going to fight Claudio now?
I don't know. Like I like what they're doing with the TV title. They did like a 4-man tournament. 4-man tournament to decide who's going to face Samoa Joe, and the finals is Dalton Castle and Shane Taylor. They're in the finals right now, and I'm hoping it's Shane Taylor. I love Dalton Castle, but it'd be pretty cool to see two big guys going against each other, and Shane and Samoa Joe.
Especially,
and then you have Shane take the title from him.
I'm rooting for Shane Taylor. I hope he pulls it off, and then he takes the title from Joe.
But I don't know. Like looking at everybody in Ring of Honor, that's it.
I don't know who, but whoever fights Claudio, they're not going to win the title. I feel like they're going to wait till Mark comes back, because I felt like if Mark would have fought,
he might have surgery.
Yeah,
so it could be a while.
But I guarantee you, if what happened didn't happen, he probably would have won the title from Claudio.
I think he would have. I think that's the plan, because you want to get Claudio off of it. Like next week, he's doing Blood and Guts, and then Death Before Dishonors 2 days later.
Mm-hmm.
So he's doing 2 big shows there. So that's why they've been talking about him being on sabbatical this week to prep for it. That's the thing, because he has to do double duty.
I got a question. Is Bryan Danielson hurt? That's why Pac's replacing him in Blood and Guts? I figured that.
He separated his shoulder, I believe it was, in Forbidden Door.
Against Okada.
He's at, I think, 6 to 8 weeks. So he's done about 3 of that so far. So he's halfway through. He'll be back just in time before All In. And it worked. It kind of worked out great, because I feel like Pac was the perfect choice, because I think he's going to join Don Callis' family. And then you have that history with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. You got the history where they did the Iron Man match. He was the one to fill in for what's his name when he beat Kenny Omega. He beat Kenny Omega all out that first year. He was able to beat him, and then the reason that he broke his nose in the Best of 7 tournament with the Lucha Brothers and Pac. They broke his nose, and then he went away. And I think it's the best way to kind of integrate somebody into it is that. If you could do anybody, he's the perfect guy. I was like, if they're going to put somebody, they need to put Pac in. Bring him back, bigger than ever, just like that. And that's where you kind of bring Kota Ibushi in, You got to one up it a certain way, and that's how you do it.
And you called it. Kota Ibushi is a part of the Elite's team, and now you got the Elite and Elite Gold or Golden Elite, whatever they were, when it was Kota Ibushi and the Young Bucks.
They just literally right after the show they came out with the Golden Elite shirt. It says Elite, but it's in gold. Mm-hmm. So they're taking advantage of all the marketing that they can there, because you got the Elite, you got Omega and Kota Ibushi, who are the Golden Lovers, as the tag team name, and then all together they're the Golden Elite. So it's like I'm excited to see Kota Ibushi. For all the people in the U.S. that don't watch New Japan, and if you haven't seen him in the Cruiserweight Classic, this guy is a savage, and he has this nickname for the certain parts of matches, Murder Ibushi, where he purposely doesn't sell. He gets drop kicks. He stands up motionless, and then he just goes rage on his opponent. It's the best thing ever.
So who you have winning Blood and Guts next week? I'm going to go with the Elite. I got the Elite too. Because
I got the Elite. You got to – I think this is the end of this whole thing with both teams. It's the perfect way to end it. You bring in a guy like Kota Ibushi, and you get the victory there. And then you can kind of branch off, and then you got Kenny Omega dealing with the Don Callis family. You can have the Young Bucks and Hangman deal with like the Dark Order, like they've been kind of doing here and there, and you can get different matches going. And then that's why I think Claudio was supposed to drop the belt to Mark Briscoe, but it's like I'm just thinking of all the names in Ring of Honor there of who can take it. It's just it depends on what route they want to go.
I don't know. I just wish Blood and Guts would have been its own pay-per-view. I think it's stupid they're doing another live free version on TBS and everything. And just that there's probably only going to be like 3 total matches on the card, because that match is definitely going to probably be at an hour tops like last year. But here, one more quick thing we're going to do real quick. I really haven't been keeping up with it, but I know they got a big pay-per-view this weekend. Impact Wrestling's got Slammiversary coming up in
for this one.
Windsor, Ontario, Canada at St. Clair College. So how about we do some quick predictions here? I'm going to run through these. Like this looks like it'll be a good card, and I'm going to check it out, hopefully. But so for the Impact Digital Media Championship, I guess this is the pre-show title, because I can't remember the last time this title was defended on the main card. But Joe Henry versus Kenny King. Who you got for that title?
I got Joe Hendry.
Joe Hendry? Okay, I'm going to go with him as well to retain. He's been a good champion, I was told.
He's killed it. And the videos, the music videos that he does for each opponent that he faces, they're classics. Like he just did one with Kenny King, and it's everybody doesn't know that there's a 2-year gap where Kenny King was a stripper. So he did a thing, and he calls him Stripper Kenny now.
There you go. All right, then another match that's going to be on the pre-show. We got Jody Threat and the Death Dolls, which is Courtney Rush and Jessica. They're taking on Shadtaraj, which is Giselle Shaw, Savannah Evans, and Jai Vidal.
I got the Death Dolls and Cody Threat. I got that team.
I'm going to go with the Shadtaraj in this one. So for the main card, we got Jonathan Gresham, Mike Bailey, Kevin Knight, Angels, and Kushida in an Ultimate X match to determine the number 1 contender for the X Division Championship.
It's always great to bring back the Ultimate X match. It's one of my favorite. They like to try and use it to build a new star or to reestablish like somebody who isn't winning that much. I'm going to go out there. This is a big if. I'm going to go with Kevin Knight.
You got Kevin Knight? I'm kind of
He just had a great match with Mike Bailey on Impact tonight. Last week they killed it. And every other guy in the match, I'm like, I could see them doing this. But like, I think they're going to try and put it on Kevin Knight. If they don't, then Kushida.
I'm kind of stuck between Kushida or possibly Angels.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So we'll see there. Then we got for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships, we have the Coven, Taylor Wilde, and Kylan King taking on the now, if he's listening, Matt Riddle's favorite team of Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich.
I got Kelly and Masha.
I got them too. I hope they win the titles.
I think the Coven have done a great job. Like everybody that watches AEW, Kylan King was on there during the COVID the period. She's done a great job since she came in a couple months ago, working with Taylor Wilde as a tag team. I think one thing Impact does great is using the women. They do a great job putting women matches together. They actually have women's tag titles that they actually defend bi-weekly or every pay-per-view. It's something that we want everywhere else. Like, I think that the Knockouts division is probably the most underrated group of women in wrestling.
I'll tell you what, if it happens, if Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich wins, we got a little trend going on here. Masha would become the fourth person we've had on our show to be a champion. Because speaking of that, congratulations to the brand new MLW World Heavyweight Champion, a guy who'd been on our show 2 years ago, Alex Kane.
I was actually supposed to go to that show, and I went to the show instead. I'm kind of pissed at, but I've seen him live. I went to MLW show, saw him, great wrestler. Like props to him for getting the nod there.
So if Slamovich, and plus he's the current champion now, and plus we've had them on two separate times, but they're currently champions together. We've also had Manny Rankowski on the show, plus we had Missa Kate, and they're the current NWA Women's World Tag Team Champions right now.
Yeah.
And if Masha wins this, then she'll be a champion. So we'll currently have 4 former guests as champions right now. So we're on fire right now. If Dylan is listening to this right now, we got ourselves a little trend here. Like, if you come on our show, you're guaranteed to be a champion. Because we are we're defending national champions in 2 different sports right now, in women's basketball and baseball. All right, moving on. We got Eddie Edwards versus Frankie Kazarian.
This is the rubber match, and both their wives will be at ringside. I think they give it to Frankie Kazarian.
Yeah, I'm going with Frankie. Yeah, Alicia Edwards will be in Eddie's corner, and Tracy Brooks will be in Frankie's corner. So I'm going with Frankie Kazarian. All right, then we got a 4-way for the Impact. I feel like this is a Slammiversary tradition. You're either going to get a 3-way or a 4-way tag team match for the Impact World Tag Team titles. But we have the current champions, ABC, DEFG, just kidding, Ace Austin and Chris Bay, the Ace Bay Club, taking on the teams of Brian Myers and Moose, Rich Swann and Sami Callihan, and Subculture, Mark Andrews, and a guy that used to follow me on Twitter during his NXT UK days, Flash Morgan Webster.
Yeah. Very underrated tag team. I'm glad that they got picked up by Impact, since we don't know when NXT Europe's ever going to start up, because they're waiting on the merger to be complete with Endeavor. It was supposed to start now. It'll be up by then, but the merger kind of pushed that back. So now it might not be starting up until 2024 now. But this is a tough one, because I thought they were going to throw a wrench into it and add the Rascals to it, because you had Zachary Wentz, a.k.a. Nash Carter, beat Chris Bay tonight. And everybody thought that they were going to add him to it. And they were like, no, we're not going to add you to it. So there's another way to push them in a title shot, probably at Bound for Glory. It probably will be. But maybe, I'm going to say ABC retains.
Basically, I would say any tag team except Brian Myers and Moose. Because if ABC retains, I'll be happy because Bullet Club for life. Rich Swann and Sammy Callahan win. I'll be fine with that because I love Sammy Callahan. Even though I guess Rich Swann, is he like an honorary member of OVE right now? I'm surprised he didn't pick one of his Christ brothers.
No, he's in there. They play off that they're really good friends right now. Then Jake Christ is back, and that's a great story with him being back in Impact because he doesn't drink anymore. He doesn't do any of that and like any drinking or any of that now. It's a great story. They had him on, I think, Terrell Wild's podcast, and then he was on Sammy's podcast talking about it. It's a great listen if you ever can listen to it on Impact Wrestling's YouTube channel about his last 2 years and getting back to Impact there. But that tag team has been good. They could win it, but I think at the end of the day, you want to keep it with the Bullet Club. I think that's a good storyline there. Even though I don't even know what side they're on, I don't even know which Bullet Club they're with because they don't mention it right now because they're kind of on their own island in Impact. They don't say they're with Bullet Club Gold, but then they don't say that they're with Bullet Club in New Japan.
Well, I'm just gonna, and if Subculture wins, I'll be happy because Mark Andrews and Flash were my favorite tag team in NXT UK outside of Callis.
Former, I think, 2-time champs there.
I'm gonna go with ABC to retain.
Yeah,
I'll keep it like that. Then we have Chris Sabin versus Leo Rush for the X Division Championship.
This is going to be a very fun match. I think Sabin retains it, but I think it could be the match of the night.
It could be. But I got Chris Sabin retaining.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have some questions here. I guess I thought at first, so we have Bully Ray and Diener versus Scott D'Amore and a mystery partner with Darren McCarthy as a special guest enforcer. But wait, what happened to Steve Macklin? I thought it was Steve Macklin and Bully Ray.
It was.
Scott D'Amore.
So Steve Macklin got hurt on the Australian tour that they had a couple weeks ago. They went to Australia down under for two shows, and he got hurt there. So he got pulled from Slammiversary. He's going to be out for like a month, I think. So he won't be cleared for this one. So they were like, okay, we're going to replace him with Dino, which is a perfect pick because they just play off the fact that Boy Ray said that Macklin was the weaker of the two, and he didn't want him to begin with. So now he gets somebody that he would have wanted to begin with. And now there's a chance that I think PCO might be replaced in the match as well.
Yeah, because
so we have no idea what's going to go on with that.
Well, if you watched Impact, there was a scene where Scott D'Amore was on the phone and he grabs his Team Canada coat, and now people are predicting we might get the return of Eric Young. So I don't know. Big shout out to Kyle from the Apron Bump saying if A1 comes back, I'll be a full-time Impact guy from now on. That'd be some shit if it was A1.
We got Tom from the broadcast. What's going on?
Good morning, Thumb. What's up?
You're the reason Steve Macklin's hurt.
I don't know. I think I don't know who his partner is, so I'm just gonna go with Bully Ray and Diener right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that right now. Yeah. Unless it's a really good partner, then I'll go with Scott D'Amore.
I'm going to say Eric Young's the partner.
Yeah, but isn't he with WWE?
No, I thought he wasn't.
I thought he's been signed with them since November.
I don't know. And they get Darren McCarthy, who's a former Detroit Red Wing, to be the special guest enforcer.
And he's going to be wrestling the next night on Slammiversary Fallout. He's going to be wrestling in a match.
So wait, is he just like a celebrity guest, or is he a wrestler now?
He's just a celebrity guest, but he has experience doing stuff with Boy at one of the past pay-per-views a few months ago, being an enforcer, and now he's doing the same thing for this match.
I just want to see what he looks like now. I guarantee you he's old as shit if he's 51. being a 4-time Stanley Cup champion for the Red Wings.
Yeah.
That's going to be a shit show if he wrestles then. Then we have the pay-per-view headline with 2 title matches. So we get Deonna Purrazzo versus Trinity for the Knockouts Championship.
I got Trinity winning it.
I'm going to go with Deonna Purrazzo to retain.
Because I think the plan was never to have her win it, but then you had Mickie James get hurt. And now Mickie James is coming back. She's done a couple
and Thom's
indie
apologizing.
shows.
And Thom just apologized about Steve Michael.
You got Mickie. She's done a couple indie shows, and she's supposed to come back. They say she might come back at Slammiversary, where she just shows up after the match. And I feel like maybe they push Naomi against Mickie James in October at Bound for Glory. I think that they could do something like that. But I think you want to strike while the iron's hot with Naomi and put the belt on her.
She's
done a great job there.
I'm going with Deonna to retain. I don't think she's ready yet. She just got there. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they automatically put it on her, but she just got there. I think Deonna's
she's been there for 3 months or so. 3-4 months.
I thought she'd been there a month. I thought she made her debut in June.
No, she's been there for a few months. She's done 1 or 2 pay-per-views already.
Or the Impact Plus events, but yeah, same shit.
Yeah.
All right, main event. You get Alex Shelley versus Nick Aldis for the Impact World Championship.
This is tough because part of me feels like there's 2 routes that they could go. They could have Alex Shelley retain, and then you do, since I said Chris Sabin is retaining, I feel like they could do that option C with Shelley facing Sabin. Or
at Bound for Glory?
Cashes in, on the 1000th episode of Impact in September. Because they're going to have that 1000th. But then you bring in a big name like Nick Aldis, and right now I'm thinking it's going to be Aldis. Because I feel like maybe Josh Alexander is close to coming back from injury.
If he I'm going to go ahead and say it. I got Nick Aldis winning the title from Alex Shelley. No disrespect. I'm glad you finally got to win that title like your partner did 2 different occasions, but I just don't see him main eventing Bound for Glory. I could see if Josh Alexander does come back, fuck yeah, I want to see Nick Aldis and Josh Alexander at Bound for Glory. And
I want to see a triple threat. I want Alexander versus Aldis versus Macklin. I want a triple threat match at Bound for Glory.
You might not get it at Bound for Glory. You might get it at one of those Premier Live events. What they got coming up next, like Emergence or something, or
they got
Victory Road or something. They got, I don't know what they got. They mixed everything up. I remember when Against All Odds was in February, then they did it in June. They did Victory Road either in July or March.
It's kind of like WWE. They kind of reflexed it and then just reset it and then put them in a different months. But I know the 1000th episode's in September. Victory Road, I think, is in the end. No, Victory Road's in September too. But then in a couple weeks, we got the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, that's a crossover thing. That's kind of like their version of Forbidden Door.
Yeah, and that's going to be here. I might actually go to that show, but
we're in Philly.
It's good. We got 2 shows back to back. We got that, then New Japan's Junior Heavyweight Festival, which is going to be fucking awesome, and they're back to back nights.
You know what we got here? Not a fucking thing. I'm just joking. No, we actually have the only 2 shows coming close to me that I will not be attending. SmackDown in New Orleans, July. It's like the last weekend of July. I think it's July 28th. July 28th, they'll be in New Orleans. And then July 31st, Monday Night Raw's in Houston, the go-home show before SummerSlam.
Yeah, we got those 2. And then we got a small event in the spring called WrestleMania. So,
yeah, I know.
Since you've had plenty between Houston, Dallas, and New Orleans, you've had plenty, so you can give us one.
Y'all can have WrestleMania. I just want something I can go to down the road. Like AEW, I'm shocked ain't coming back down here. They ain't been to Houston or New Orleans since last year.
They can,
because they don't fucking leave Chicago.
They go to Chicago a million times. Like if Philly gets, we get a lot of New Japan.
Vegas is not fucking picky like Chicago. They go to Vegas only one time a year, and it's the week of Double or Nothing, and that's it. They don't ever go back unless it's Double or Nothing. Chicago, they go to Chicago like fucking 7 times a year. They go in like February, then they go again in April, they go again in June, then you gotta do fucking All Out, then you got the Thanksgiving Eve show, and then they go back around fucking Christmas.
Yeah, like we get in New Japan like twice a year, then maybe AEW once, and then WWE once.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we have done it for tonight. I think I'm outdone. But reminder, next week's live stream is going to be a big one. The Hostly Trio will be back together, and we're going to do our annual mid-year awards coming up on our next live stream. So be sure to tune into that, and maybe if we're in the mood, we might also predict Death Before Dishonor, even though, sadly, I'm sorry, that pay-per-view is probably going to suck now that Mark Briscoe's not fighting Claudio. But I might watch it when I come back on vacation. But I'm going to read about it and check it out on Twitter. But that's a week from tomorrow in Trenton, New Jersey.
By the way, they just announced, I forgot to do this, that because Kevin Kelly's going to be at the G1 in Japan all month, he won't be doing Collision for the next month. So Ian Riccaboni is going to be doing Collision for the next 4 to 5 weeks.
Nice.
In his place and he's going to be doing that.
Well, we got some other interesting shit coming up. I know I'll be coming on your show soon to talk Poirier versus Gaethje, but
I'm excited about that. And then Poirier just did the thing a couple of days ago for that kid for charity, where he met a kid and then doing all that. They just had big news with that from a couple of days ago, and that's in 2 weeks. That pay-per-view.
Yeah. But real quick, man, let them know where they can find you on social media and Cage My IQ.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at CageIQ. I put out MMA predictions and my bet slips for the pay-per-views every Wednesday at 5 p.m. for my YouTube video, and then every Thursday afternoon for my Cage's bet slip. And then the G1 Climax is starting this Sunday. So I believe me and Tim King will be doing something for that, whether it's we're going to be putting predictions out for it, or we might also do weekly recap of the matches, because there's going to be so much going on with 5 shows a week for the G1. I'm looking forward to seeing how they got a loaded lineup night 1 on Sunday. You got Shingo Takagi against Eddie Kingston. You got Ren Narita going up against Shota Umino, and some more matchups. It's going to be a fun-packed G1 this year with 32 wrestlers in it.
That's right. Of course, you can find me on Twitter at MarcusLee307 again. Of course, follow the podcast on Twitter at WorldlyPod. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Our live streams powered by StreamYard. You can watch anytime on demand, and we're on any audio platform. And one last thing before we go, since we were talking about Impact, breaking news. Deonna Purrazzo and Trinity's Knockout World Title match will be the first ever women's main event of Slammiversary in Impact Wrestling history. So Trinity and Deonna are closing out
Slammiversary. That's great. That's good for them. They've had a decent build to this match. So,
is it just me, or did the women close out every pay-per-view so far? I know they did it for Hard to Kill, and I think they did it for Rebellion.
I don't think they've done every one, because I think the last one wasn't the women. The last one was Shelley and Macklin, because they went almost 40 minutes.
I'm talking about the original 4, like Hard to Kill, Rebellion, Slammiversary, and Battle for Glory.
Maybe.
Because I remember Hard to Kill.
Not Bound for Glory. I don't think they did that.
No, they didn't do Bound for Glory, but I meant like so far this year, Mickey James and Deanna main evented Hard to Kill. And I want to say Deanna and whoever she faced at Rebellion might have main evented, but I'm going to look at that. I kind of wish they didn't get rid of Lockdown. Like Rebellion, I felt like they took it from WWE because it was
Lockdown was more of like a TNA thing.
And
I know it's the same company, but they
oh my God. So yes, so far this year, the women have closed out every main pay-per-view in Impact. Deanna and Mickey James closed out Hard to Kill. Deanna and Jordan Grace closed out Rebellion, and now Deanna and Trinity's going to close out Slammiversary.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be it was supposed to be a triple threat match with Mickey in it, but then she couldn't compete, so it was just them two. Yeah.
Yep.
You see, just like it goes with what I said before, how they got a great women's division and they book it great, and they're able to put them in the main event like they are.
Yep. Well, this one was fun. Of course, thank you again for tuning in. Freddie, I wish you could have been here, but we get it. Family always comes first. But I'm looking forward of coming on your show in a couple of weeks to talk what UFC is it? To what?
It's UFC, I believe 291.
291.
Yeah, and they just announced that that Jorge Masvidal is going to put the BMF belt on the winner. Since he's the former holder of the belt, he's going to go out there and Dana White it.
Yep. Well, all righty, man. That will do it. Thank you for everybody for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week. Be also to look out. Boys of SummerSlam. Freddie and I did SummerSlam 2005. It's going to drop this weekend, and then Dylan and I are going to eventually record Great American Bash Show 4. We'll drop it later in the month, and then next live stream again, we're doing our annual mid-year awards. Myself, Dylan, and Jordan. Be sure to check all that out. We'll see you guys same time, same place. Thank you. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Eyes like they're hypnotized, waiting for